Pre-emergent herbicides have been around for quite some time across a range of the crops that we grow in Australia. There's a lot of benefits from pre-emergent herbicide because there's some downsides too. So pre-emergent means that they're applied to the soil before the crop emerges from the ground. So there's pre-plant pre-emergence and there's post-plant pre-emergence. So both do the same job. They give you early weed control in your crops, which is generally beneficial, but of course the downside is that they can lock you in, particularly the pre-emergence you apply before you plant. Because if you put a pre-emergent on before you plant and you don't get a planting rain or it's too wet or for whatever reason, of course you're stuck with that herbicide on the ground, and that can really limit your cropping options for the future when it does dry out or it goes to the next season. Of course, post-plant pre-emergent is a better option sometimes, but of course, if there's a crop failure or some reason or other you want to double crop, you've really got to consider your pre-emergent herbicide, be it in front of planting or after planting, that may impact on that next crop that you want to grow. So, there's still not a lot of options for broadleaf weed control in our soybeans and our mung beans and our peanuts. So we're really a bit hamstrung there. When you go for grass weeds, of course, there's quite a few options. We started off with 2,2-DPA, which is a long time before a lot of you people viewing this will remember. So 2,2-DPA was Sherpon and Dowpon for grass control in our broadleaf crops. And then we got onto the FOPs, didn't we? The FOPs and the DIMs, and things like Fusilade and then Verdict and Certain and all those sorts of products came in with their particular chemistry, their great chemistry, to control our grasses in our broadleaf crop. There's always restrictions on when you can apply these things in crops. So too small, you might have some crop safety angles. Too late in the crop, and of course you run the risk of the withholding periods or the MRLs being exceeded for that particular product in that particular crop. So you really need to be on the ball with whatever the label says, be it broadleaf or grass crop control. So whether it be Blazer, whether it be Basagran, whether it's the FOPs or the DIMs for grass control, you need to be spot on with what you're doing there with your control timing, as well as your rates and your application for efficacy. Crop competition is another great part of our weed control in our crops, be it pulse or our ordinary broadacre grain crops. So we need to practice it, we need to do more of it, as well as relying on our herbicides. We need to look at crop competition, and part of that is not only just plants per square metre, it's also row spacing, isn't it? So we've all seen those paddocks where we've gone along where the planters failed to plant, and what do we have in those sections? Yep, a bunch of weeds. Well, that's crop competition. You've seen it for years, so now you start to practice it a lot more on your farm and your paddocks for a better principle of weed control to take the pressure off our herbicides, because as we all know, herbicide resistance is getting more and more, and we need to try and drag that weed seed numbers being produced every year down, and the herbicides are not the only way. We need to look at all options, all tactics for weed control in our crops, be it pulse or grain crops. We've got this principle called desiccation. It's not spray topping, it's desiccation, so it's done closer to harvest. It's usually at least a 7-day, maybe longer, withholding period from when you put the desiccation products on. So basically it was after weed control originally in our crops. We were chasing to try and control those weeds at the last throw of the dice with a desiccation herbicide product. But of course it's more than that, isn't it? It's trying to get your crop mature. So particularly soybeans and mung beans, they can be really stretched out in their maturity. You want to get them off. They're all physiologically mature, so you're trying to harvest them, but they're too green. There's too many green stems in the thing, so you're going to desiccate them with the herbicide. So the options are, like I said, glyphosate. The options are Reglone. The options are maybe things like metsulfuron, or even sharpen to these days to some crops. So we have some good options. We've just got to remember that A, we have MRLs, B, we have withholding periods, and C, you must abide by all of those things when you're desiccating your pulse crop with a particular option that you've chosen to be the best one.